Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief by Simply Cyber. My name is Tyler Ramsby. I am the guest host for today's stream, and today is Friday, June 27th, 2025, and this is episode 908 of the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing. Hey guys, super excited to have all of you taking the time to hang out with me, kicking off your Friday. If you're like, yo, I've been gone all week. Where the heck is Jerry? Jerry is taking some much deserved time away. So I've been filling in every single morning this week, and I've had a lot of fun hanging out with you. But our time, believe it or not, is coming to a close. Today is Friday, which means tomorrow is the weekend. But we're going to begin our Friday by shredding some of the top cyber news. Looking at chat, I'm assuming everything's good. No one's complaining about the audio. And yes, if you say hello in chat, make sure you take a screenshot because being part of the party is worth half a CPE. So make sure you say hello in chat, grab a screenshot for proof that you were here, you were hanging out in the party. And also, if this is your first time in the daily cyber threat briefing, make sure you drop hashtag first timer in chat. I would love to officially welcome you to the family, welcome you to the party. But so good to have all of you here. All right, I don't see anyone complaining about audio or video, so I'm going to assume all of that is good. Hey, y'all, before we dive into shredding the top cyber news, we do need to give you a word from our sponsor. Now, this is from Jerry, so I'm going to pull in virtual Jerry in from a previous video, and he's going to do all the sponsor shout-outs. But before I do that, I do have one thing I want to share with you. If you can do us a favor, make sure I don't miss any first timers. Okay, I have it. If you can do us a favor, in the description of this video, you can find a link to each one of these sponsors. Please take the time over the next few minutes while we are playing the ad roll to go in and click each one of those links and check out each one of those sponsors. Even if you did it yesterday, do it again. The sponsors want to see that the people in the community support them so they continue supporting the show. So just know that this show is made possible by every one of these sponsors. They've been pre-vetted by the Simply Cyber team, and each one of them is amazing. So let me go ahead and kick off this ad roll, and I'll see you guys when it is complete.
Guys, I want to say shout out and thanks to the stream sponsors, those who enable me to bring this show to you every single day, starting with my friends Barricade Cyber and their Fortify 365 solution. Is your Microsoft 365 environment secure? Well, with business email compromise attacks on the rise, your entire operation could be at risk. Fortify 365 from Barricade Cyber Solutions is your defensive shield. Their team of experts implements proven security standards to protect your business from cyber threats, ensure compliance, and safeguard your sensitive data. They've helped countless organizations strengthen their M365 defenses with tailored solutions that address real-world vulnerabilities. Don't wait until after a breach to take action. Visit Fortify365.com today to learn how they can secure your Microsoft 365 environment against tomorrow's threats today. I also want to say shout out to Antisyphon Training. Guys, Antisyphon Training is disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by offering high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. Their team of industry professionals assemble some of the best curriculum and course delivery you're going to see this side of the Mason-Dixon line, this side of the Mississippi, this side of the Rockies, this side of the Atlantic, this side of the Pacific. You choose your own graphical boundary, and they're the best on one side for sure. And the jury's out if they're not the best on both sides. Holler. I own an online academy, and I'm telling you, like, they are amazing. They're so good. It's all about supporting each other, not about, competitiveness like that. Just know they've got tons going on. Go to antisyphontraining.com, click on the course catalog, and you can see they have their upcoming course schedules. They've got courses in June, July, August, red, blue, whatever it is you want, they've got action going. All right, so go to antisyphontraining.com. Remember, links in the description for all of these are below. Let's hear quickly from ThreatLocker. I'll be chatting with you in chatty chat. Bodie McBoatface. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. All right, thank you very much. Just really quick, want to remind you also about Flare Academy. Now, I love Flare.io, the website, which is the landing page for Flare's cyber threat intelligence capability. But did you know that Flare has an academy side with training, tons of free, basically instructor-led webinars, for lack of a better term. But they're, a couple times a month, high value. As an example, on June 23rd, Jason Haddix is giving a talk, the Jason Haddix, bug bounty hacker methodology, CISO, CEO, trainer. The dude's awesome. He's right here. And as an example of what Flare Academy offers, you can learn operationalizing cybercrime data for red team and offensive ops, 2 hours. And the best part is, right after the webinar is over, you can go on Flare Academy's Discord and talk directly with Jason in this instance, or whoever the instructor is. So use the link below. It's simplycyber.io/flare. It will take you directly to the upcoming talks they have. This is gold. Don't miss on it. Don't sleep on it. It's totally free. You can just register and go check it out. It's awesome. All about good times.
I have one more sponsor for you guys that Jerry forgot about in that video. Again, it's not formally a sponsor of Simply Cyber, but he mentioned a few different academies in that video. I do want to let you know that Simply Cyber also has an academy, and it's amazing. Let me share this with you really quick before we dive into the top cyber news, but I'll grab the link and I'm going to drop the link over in chat. Go ahead and make an account if you haven't already. There, if I drop the link, I'm going to show the message. This time I will remember to hide it. But here is, I realize it blocks my face, but that's okay. Simply Cyber's Academy, if you just go over to all products, you can see a little bit about what the Academy has to offer. A lot of courses on GRC. We have some free resources, some paid resources. But if you're interested in what I do, so my job during the day is I do pen testing. I'm an ethical hacker, and I have a few courses on here, more coming out in the very near future, but introduction to hacking methodology. So if you want to get into ethical hacking or solving CTFs, this would be a perfect course to start with. If you're interested in cloud pen testing, introduction to AWS pen testing will take you from beginner level to intermediate level in AWS pen testing, all hands-on labs, all taught by yours truly. And I have another course coming out in just a few weeks on July 8th, hands-on phishing, that teaches you how to do full phishing campaigns, including infrastructure setup, purchasing domains, configuring search, using GoPhish and Evil Jinx, spoofing telephone numbers. A lot of crazy things. It will be coming out on July 8th. There will be an early bird special to make it only $24.99 for lifetime access, and then it will jump to $34.99 when that is over. Still incredibly affordable, and I have partnered with OffSec of all organizations, and I have a completely free OSCP voucher plus 90 days of lab access, which is like an $1,800 value that if you enroll in the first 4 weeks, you will be eligible to win that voucher. I'll be doing the drawing live on my stream, which, one more self-promotion, you can see my YouTube going across the lower thirds. If you don't follow me on YouTube, you should. I stream all of the time, teaching ethical hacking content, even some blue team stuff, and doing a lot of fun hacker shenanigans. All right, all that being said, let's go ahead and get ready to shred the top cyber news. And I said I would remember to hide it. Look at that, guys. It only took me 5 days. But after 5 days of doing this show, I have now remembered to click the hide message button after displaying a message. So, hey, if nothing else, that is a win. I'm going to take the wins as they come. One more thing, and I know I already said one more thing, but there's always one more thing. One more thing, y'all. Today is Friday, which means at the end of the daily cyber threat briefing, we have jaw jacking, but it's a special jaw jacking with a panel of people hanging out with me answering questions. At least I think there's going to be. I'm looking at mod chat over on Simply Cyber, and I'm pretty sure all the mods are still sleeping. We have Jenny checking in, but that's about it. So as long as there's people awake, we will do a panel. If there's not, I'll just like clone 4 of me in OBS, and it'll be like a weird episode of Full House, and it will be just me looking up and down at one another. Okay, let's go ahead and get ready to shred the top cyber news. Once again, guys, as I kick this off, please let me know if audio is too quiet, too loud. I don't have a great way to monitor this, making sure I'm on the right episode, and I am. Let's dive in.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, June 27th, 2025. I'm Steve Prentice. Iranian-backed spear-phishing campaign seeks out cybersecurity experts. In the ongoing situation with regards to Israel and Iran, a new spear-phishing campaign has been targeting Israel-based journalists, cybersecurity experts, and academics. Using a technique that has been seen many times before, the group is sending emails and WhatsApp messages from people posing as assistants to technology executives or researchers seeking to, quote, coax the victim into joining a meeting, claiming they need their immediate assistance on an AI-based threat detection system to counter a surge in cyber attacks targeting Israel since June 12th, end quote. The messages point to faked Gmail login pages or Google Meet invitations. They appear also to be crafted through generative AI due to their structured layout and the absence of any grammatical errors. Security company Checkpoint attributes this action to groups affiliated to APT35.
All right. Well, we have more stuff in the news about, of course, global conflicts and how that affects the cyberspace. So one takeaway. I know I've said this, I think almost every day this week, but there's always new people jumping on. So just want to repeat to you, anytime there is global conflict, or even when there's not global conflict, behind the scenes, there is a hidden war field that many of us do not see, but that is in the space of cyber warfare. It can be almost just as damaging as real physical warfare, if not more so. I mean, people can lose their lives as a result of cyber warfare when critical infrastructure is attacked. And you can see here with the conflict between Iran and Israel, you have Iran state-sponsored hacking groups. Now, when you are in the space of cybersecurity, you're going to notice there's a few different kind of hacker types. A lot of the hacker types you'll see are essentially script kiddies. They're just firing off pre-made scripts. They can't hack the way out of an easy hack-the-box machine. They're just looking around for low-hanging fruit or low-hanging bugs and trying to get into your organization with those bugs. On the other hand, you have much more advanced nation-state actors called APTs, or advanced persistent threats, and they are funded by state governments. I mean, the US has their own APT groups that go after other countries, and here you have an Iran state-sponsored hacking group going after Israel, and they're doing it via social engineering. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. If you want to get into ethical hacking, red teaming, pen testing, we tend to think like, hey, all you need to do is pop shells. If you're really good at like solving machines and hack the box and try hack me and Pwn Labs, if you can solve those machines, then you can become a pen tester. But actually, a big part of pen testing is being able to communicate well, not only to clients when you're working with them ahead of and after the pen test, but being able to communicate well in the world of social engineering. The weakest link is almost always the human. Now I say almost always because we've seen some stories this week where like organizations got popped by CVEs from freaking 10 years ago. So sometimes they're publicly facing exchange server that hasn't been patched since the 1600s. That might be the weakest link. But much of the time, the weakest link is the human component. And in this campaign, they are targeting cybersecurity professionals, people like you, people like me, and they got them to engage by sending out fake Gmail login page or Google Meet invitations. Now, real quick self-promotion, my phishing course that comes out on July 8th, once again, I give a walkthrough of how you can actually do this very thing. I think it's important as a defender to understand technically how an attacker does this on the technological side of things. And as a pen tester or red teamer, you need to be able to emulate the same tactics as these APT groups so that you can properly test your client's defenses. But they sent out these fake Gmail login pages or Google Meet invitations. When they logged in, one of two things could happen. One, they could have just stolen their credentials. You can do that with something like GoFish, but you could also use an invisible proxy such as Evil Jinx. Evil Jinx literally functions the real login page. And when you log into a login page that's being proxied by Evil Jinx, you'll still be prompted for your MFA credentials. When you enter in your MFA credentials, the threat actor not only steals your username and password, they also get their hands on your session token. So even if your account is protected by MFA, they can replay that session and gain access to your account. Now, hopefully the session expires quickly so it doesn't give them long-term access, but in the little bit of time they have, they can seek to establish persistence. So even if you're like, hey, I have MFA enabled, I'm safe. No, you are not. MFA can be bypassed with invisible proxies by stealing your session token after you log in post MFA. So the cybersecurity company attributed the activity to the threat cluster it tracks as Educated Manicore. That's an interesting name, which overlaps with APT 35. Now, I don't think there's much more interesting here. It looks like their pretext was with the cyber attack saying, hey, we need you to jump on this call right now. The other thing it mentioned, and I don't know if I saw it in the article, is that much of the phishing kits and phishing emails. Oh, hey, I know I'm jumping around here, but look. This fake page is part of a custom phishing link that can not only capture their creds, but also two-factor codes, effectively facilitating 2FA relay attacks. I teach this in my course. Another plug for my course coming out July 8th. I will teach you how to do this so you understand how to defend against it. But one other thing that stood out to me about the story, and I'm not seeing it in the article itself, they mentioned that many of the messages were created by AI. And this is another thing to be aware of. The common things to look for in a phishing email that you've probably all done, your typical like annual phishing training at your organization, is you look for grammatical issues. You look for things that seem out of the ordinary. Well, with the tools of AI, you can make very realistic sounding, grammatically correct phishing emails. I also showcase that full process in my course, but just know that that's what threat actors are doing. You can't just look for emails that have bad grammar, because with the advent of AI, even threat actors who maybe don't speak English much, don't really know English well, they can use AI to create very professional sounding, urgent phishing emails that if you're really not paying close attention to every part, including links and domains, it is not going to go well for you. You will get pwned. You will get phished. So it happens to even the experts among us, which means every single one of us needs to continually be aware of this threat and know the effects of falling prey to a phishing email, even when you have MFA enabled. All right, well, let's continue on with our stories. I'm looking at chat and make sure I'm not missing anything. Also, guys, I haven't seen any first-timers. Just want to remind you, if this is your first time here, not only do I want to tell you happy Friday, but I want to formally welcome you to the party. So if you are a first-timer, make sure you drop hashtag first-timer in chat. But let's continue our stories and continue shredding the top cyber news. Here we go.
Microsoft fixes Outlook bug causing crashes when opening emails.
Microsoft.
This fix addresses a known issue that causes the classic Outlook email client to crash when opening emails or starting a new message. According to Bleeping Computer, quote, the bug impacts users across all Microsoft 365 Office channels who updated Outlook for Microsoft 365 earlier this month, end quote. The cause of the problem, the Microsoft Outlook team says, is that, quote, Outlook cannot open the Forms library and that the emerging cases for this issue are on virtual desktop infrastructure, end quote. The bug has now been addressed across multiple channels, and non-security updates for Outlook 2016 and Outlook 2019 will be released on July 1st and July 8th, respectively.
Oh, yo, we got some gifted memberships. Who just did that? Let me, who did all the gifted? Oh, we have James McQuicken with the 20 gifted subs, dude. You are amazing. Hey, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for letting all these people join the party. That's amazing. Thank you. I'm just seeing it blow up over in chat. Thank you, James McQuicken. You are awesome. But hey, y'all, this is just your typical day. Microsoft has a bug that they cause that crashes things. All right. That should be Microsoft's tagline. Microsoft, we break stuff with our updates. Then we send updates to try to fix the stuff we broke that will probably break more stuff. So one big takeaway from this is don't use Microsoft. All right. We'll just throw that out there. I feel a little bit like a hypocrite because I am, full disclosure, I am using Windows 11 right now. I have to because of Restream. But generally speaking, I dual boot. And the only time I use Windows is when I'm hosting Daily Cyber Threat Briefing or I'm gaming. Other than that, I use Ubuntu. It is so much smoother for freaking everything. And in general with Microsoft products, with the exception of Azure. I do enjoy Azure. But we have Microsoft that when you open is it any email? Microsoft has fixed a known issue that will cause a classic Outlook email client to just crash when opening emails or starting a new message. What else do you use an email client for? You open the email. You open your email and Outlook crashes. You start sending a new message and Outlook crashes. And then I also guarantee the IT support teams are like, what? Come on, Microsoft. So I used to do IT support, guys. That was my first job in the IT world. I did frontline IT support. My second job in the IT world is I managed the IT support department for a college, which was about 2,000 students, 300 staff. So not massive, but pretty large. And we had a small team. And this is one of the reasons I hated dealing with Microsoft. I felt like this happened all the time. Microsoft pushes out an update. Even though we delay the update and then push it out, it breaks a bunch of stuff. And then our 4-person team in the IT department is overwhelmed with call after call after call of people pissed off, expecting us to fix the broken update. And I'm like, y'all, it's Microsoft. This is beyond our pay grade. There's only so much that we can do. Come on, Microsoft. I don't really know how this is in the CISO series top headlines. It's not a security thing, but it is what it is. It shows you how to fix it. My fix is don't use Outlook, don't use Microsoft products. I recognize many of you work for companies and you don't have that choice. So I'll pour one out for you tonight, but Microsoft is massive. Microsoft has an enormous footprint in the business world. You have to know how to use it. Yeah, it's true. I know how to use it and I know how to hack it. I just don't like using it personally, but usually when I'm using Microsoft, it's for streaming or I'm on a pen test and I need to pwn Microsoft. But okay, let's continue with our stories. This one is Microsoft break stuff. Whoops, I didn't want to click that. Nothing new there. Now I can't even exit out of full screen mode. I'm blaming Microsoft for that. All right, critical Cisco vulnerability. Let's continue our stories. And the podcast doesn't want to play. I have to refresh it. I'm just going to blame Microsoft for that too, even though it's not their fault.
Cisco's double ISE vulnerability warning. The company announced patches for 2 critical severity vulnerabilities on Wednesday, one in the Identity Services Engine, ISE, and the other in the Cisco ISE Passive Identity Connector.
Ooh.
Both have CVE numbers, and both are rated the maximum severity score of 10 out of 10. They impact specific APIs within the affected products. These bugs are not related or dependent on one another, and Cisco says software versions affected by one flaw may not be impacted by the other. Glasgow City.
Okay, that was the end of the story. This is actually really interesting. So first, we have the takeaway. Here's my manual sound effect. You got to patch it. Oh, and we got Space Tacos. Real quick before I talk about the story, we got Space Tacos jumping in with the super chat. Welcome to the party, pal, and congratulations on the new job. Oh, Poner Joe, did you share in chat? Hey, guys, so before we dive into the story, Poner Joe sent me a message on Discord, but he has officially landed a job as a penetration tester. So, dude, welcome to the pen testing lifestyle, the pen testing career. I know I already congratulated you on Discord before starting the show, but want to say formally on the show, dude, congratulations. Amazing work. I know how difficult it is to finally land that first pen testing role, but now the door is open for you. You have got to the role of a pen tester. Honestly, the possibilities are endless here. Whether you stay at that company long term, maybe you're there for a little bit, but just having real work experience as a pen tester has now just broke down a bunch of doors and a bunch of barriers for you. So yeah, everybody in chat, tell Poner Joe congratulations. It is amazing. Congrats, my friend. Diving into this story, I have to use my manual sound effect, right? You got to patch it. If you are running Cisco products affected by these vulnerabilities, these have the maximum severity score of 10 out of 10. And the reason for that is they are exploitable without authentication. And if there's not POCs out on GitHub for them yet, there are going to be. Now, there's actually two things I want to share, actually a bunch of things I want to share about this story. One, we have brand new CVEs that do have a 10 out of 10 rating. If you are a pen tester, so this is for Poner Joe and the other pen testers in chat, or if you do CTFs and you find a machine that's vulnerable to this, there's actually threat actors who do, I don't even know if you'd call this a watering hole attack, but I suppose it would be, where they will publish fake CVEs for this. So I don't know if it happened yet. I made a video on my YouTube channel where the Hack Smarter CTF team from my Discord discovered a malicious GitHub that was trying to exploit Hack the Box users. But here's how it works. Imagine for a moment a Hack the Box machine releases, and that Hack the Box machine is vulnerable to one of these two CVEs. Well, the threat actor will create a GitHub and we'll call it like CVE 2025-20281 POC. And you'll go to it and it will be a long list of Python code. And if you don't take the time to read the code, you'll fire it off just hoping, hey, maybe I can get initial access to this Hack the Box machine. But in the background, it is installing a crypto miner or it's stealing information from your computer. That legit will happen. So when you are using GitHub, define POCs or working exploits for any CVE that you're looking into, make sure you read the code or at least take the full code and send it to ChatGPT and say, will this pwn me? That being said, I believe when I found this on GitHub before, someone in Hack Smarter did, I sent the code to ChatGPT and I said, do you notice anything vulnerable here? And GPT missed it. So you do want to be careful anytime you are firing off scripts from a source that you do not know. So that's one warning, one takeaway. So make sure you patch it. Be careful when you're doing your own security research into any new CVEs that just released. And we have these two vulnerabilities. So the first, and they're not related, it said. So they're two kind of different code bases. But the first one exists because user supplied input is insufficiently validated. Something I see all the time. It looks like here you just send an API request and you can get arbitrary code with root privileges. Crazy. We have the 282 lack of file validation checks allows attackers to place arbitrary files and privileged directories on a vulnerable system. So these are classic vulnerabilities that you'll see all the time, even on CTFs, where you're bypassing insufficient input validation or you're bypassing some file validation checks. These are things you learn in your beginning days of learning red teaming and pen testing, even on like basic try hack me rooms. Now, I'm sure exploiting these were not basic, finding the vulnerabilities were not basic, but here's what I want to point out to you. You can do security research. We tend to think that, my guys, if you've been here for the past stream, my cat always wants to be part of the show. I have to put him on my lap because if I don't, he'll knock stuff over and try to jump on my keyboard. So my cat is now co-hosting the show with me. I'll have to pet him for a little bit till he chills out and stops complaining. But anyways, if you want to get into pen testing, a good way to do this is doing security research. Maybe you're not at the level of doing research on Cisco, but if you go to GitHub, there are so many popular open source projects that you might be able to find a vulnerability on, submit the vulnerability securely to the developers. They will patch it. You can submit for a CVE. You can talk about it and say, hey, here's how I help secure things. I mean, just recently, I was looking at GitHub and the number one trending project was like this really cool resume builder. And I thought, hey, let me check this out. And so I downloaded this resume builder, and within 20 minutes, I had cross-site scripting that would reset a user's password, allow account takeover. So basically, I would share my resume with you, which is how it's meant to do. But as soon as you read my resume, I bypass their input validation. It would execute JavaScript in your browser. If you were logged into the same app, it would reset your password. You would know nothing happened. And then I would then log into your account with a new password, performing full account takeover. That took me about 20 minutes to find on a #1 trending project on GitHub. So it's possible. You just need to be curious and do a little bit of research. I don't know what researchers found this. It looks like they submitted to Cisco, so I don't think this is being exploited in the wild. I think some security researchers found it, submitted it to Cisco, and then Cisco patched it. But now my cat's trying to rub his face against my microphone. The dude wants to talk. But very interesting vulnerability, very interesting exploit to kick off your Friday. That's the other thing that sucks. I used to be a senior analyst on the blue team, and I really hate it when vulnerabilities like this would drop on a Friday because you'd have to patch it or work into the weekend to make sure it's patched. But now I'm a pen tester, so all the blue team people, I'll also pour one out for you this weekend. All right, let's continue our stories.
City Council suffers cyber attack. This attack started on June 19th and is being attributed to a supply chain issue involving a third-party contractor's supplier. Services that have been rendered unavailable for the time being include online forms and calendars related to certain things such as permits, official certificates, and many more of the same. The City Council cannot yet confirm whether data was exfiltrated from its environment, but is, quote, operating on a precautionary basis as though it has, end quote. No financial systems were compromised, the council added.
I think that's the end of the story. Well, cat. Okay, I got to kick my cat off my lap, dude. He's being too annoying. This is the same old, same old. We had a cyber attack. We don't take logs. We don't know what happened. Are you serious? Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff offline. So there's a few takeaways from this. One, cyber attacks are going to happen. Right? And today's day and age is no longer a matter of if, but it's when your organization gets breached. So real quick plug, you need to do a penetration test if you are a CISO or a red team engagement. Sure, you might run Nessus. You might do vulnerability scanning in your own internal environment. But the reason pen tests are so important is because you get someone like me who can operate like a threat actor, who can think outside of the box, who can abuse logic and see what I can do to your application. It does much more than your typical vulnerability scan, and it leads to actual exploitation and then a professional report at the end saying, hey, you might want to patch this before Russia shows up in your environment. So you need to be proactive and reactive when it comes to cyber threats, but proactive is super important. Make sure you're doing pen testing. Make sure you have red team engagements. Make sure you're doing threat hunting, depending on the security maturity of your organization, because once again, it's not if you get breached, but it's when you get breached. And if you're doing pen tests and tabletop exercises, you should be able to minimize some of the damage that happens as a result of the cyber breach. All right, let's go through this a little more. We have Glasgow City Council apologizes for the anxiety and inconvenience this incident and the necessary response to do will undoubtedly cause. Well, not only that, I'm pretty sure information was stolen. This is not just a cyber attack. This is them stealing sensitive information. Because look at this. The council said it can't yet confirm whether data has been exfiltrated from its environment, but is operating on a precautionary basis as though it has. Well, great for you. The reason you can't confirm is you did not keep logs. Come on. And hey, John Brecht just said in chat, Tyler's 100% correct. We just did a full pen test, found some glaring issues to resolve. And if you want a pen test, reach out to me. I'll chat with you. But seriously, the reason they can't confirm is they don't take logs or their logs suck. Guys, you need to have good logging in place for all of your systems. Whether it's Splunk or Elasticsearch is how you're digesting it. I don't care how you digest it. You need to do it in a way that works for you and your team, but you have to be able to do incident response and actually track down, hey, where did the threat actor, how did they first get access to the environment? What systems did they access? Did they exfiltrate data? If you can't answer those questions, you fail. You need to be able to understand what is going on and what data was exfiltrated because it affects real people. Because it says this, here are the things that are down. The application for footway crossing, I don't even know what that is. The bin calendar, certificate online, births, deaths, and marriages, comments and compliments, complaints. I'm going to send some complaints. Council diary, elections, permits, planning enforcement, pupil absent, sign language, taxi complaints form. I'm guessing within this information, there is PII data that the threat actors likely got a hold of. They go on to say no financial systems were compromised. It added any banking data can be considered safe. Are you sure? If they don't know if sensitive data was exfiltrated, how can they say no financial systems were compromised? They don't know that. Based on what I'm seeing here, they don't know. They're saying that to lower people's anxiety, but without having good logging. I mean, if they don't even know if data was stolen, they don't know if financial systems were compromised. I'm guessing they're saying based on what we see, they weren't compromised. Well, if you don't take good logs, according to your freaking logs, nothing was compromised. Going through here, it says all of the above services remain unavailable due to defenders isolating systems, the council said, not because of the attack itself. And here's this. The council warned them to be wary of potential phishing attacks using the data that may or may not be stolen. Come on. All right. Well, we have your common things here. Make sure you take good logs. Make sure you're doing pen testing. Make sure you're doing proactive defense before you get pwned. Oh, geez. We're at the midroll and it's 7:36. I'm doing great on time. I think we are. Let me confirm. And the podcast doesn't want to play. Let me refresh it. I believe we're at the mid-roll, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out. We are. That's all I had to hear was the music. So, a big thank you to our sponsors here on the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, and we are in the mid-roll. Now, I don't have the fancy setup of the one and only Dr. Jerry Auger, so I can't play the mid-roll music. You don't get the drums or the la-la-la, so you just have to picture it in your mind for a moment. You can hear the drums. You can hear the la-la-las. But hey, this is the mid-roll. Do want to say a big thank you once again to the sponsors of the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing. We have Barricade Cyber Solutions, Threat Locker, Delete Me, Antisyphon Training, and Flare's Academy. Each one of these organizations has been pre-vetted by the Simply Cyber team, and every one of them is amazing, and you need to check them out right now. Like, not after the show, right now. I give you permission. While I talk, description of the video, click the links, check out each one of these sponsors. But we have Barricade Cyber Solutions led by the one and only Eric Taylor. He will help you with your ransomware issues before they happen or as they happen. We have Threat Locker, providing some of that threat hunting stuff that you heard about in the beginning. We have Delete Me. Your personal information is all over the internet. If you can Google your own name and find your address, that's not a good thing. Delete Me helps remove your personal information from the internet. We have Antisyphon Training with Pay What You Can training, live webinars, a bunch of incredible resources to help you both on the red team and blue team side of things. And then we have Flare. Not only do they do their normal stuff at flare.io for tracking threat actors and all that fun stuff, they have Flare's Academy, giving you training as well in the real world in the field of cybersecurity. So if you haven't checked out these sponsors, make sure you check them out. And one more plug for Simply Cyber's Academy. We are growing the academy. It is amazing. I've added some red team courses that are super affordable. So if you want to get into pen testing or GRC, make sure you check out Simply Cyber Academy. I'll drop the link one more time in chat for those of you who were gone earlier, but go make an account on Simply Cyber Academy. Let me highlight the message, academy.simplycyber.io. My next course on phishing is coming out July 8th, showing you how to do full phishing campaigns from the perspective of a pen tester or a red teamer. So make sure you check that out. Let me hide that before I make it go missing. But since it's Friday, we always have a special treat on Fridays, and that is James McQuicken's Dad Joke Friday. He is at 35,000 feet. He sent me the dad jokes yesterday. Let me get these pulled up. So I was laughing, dude, just when I was looking at, right before the show, I was looking at, especially the last one. All right, here are our dad jokes for Dad Jokes Friday. I'm writing a book about falling downstairs. It's a step-by-step guide. I need a laugh track. That's what I really need for my sound effects, is a laugh track for this part. 2 more. I'm writing a joke about glue. You won't be able to put it down. Boom, boom. Amazing. All right, this is the one that made me chuckle a little bit before the show. Jerry and I have a good friend with the nickname Aladdin. His real name is Matt Ryder. Ah. Let me know your guys' favorite jokes. I think I saw Carrie dropping a dad joke in here too, about onions, but I don't remember what it was. If you're still here, you can drop it. I'll share your joke as well. If you guys have any dad jokes, let me know them in chat. I would love to look at them, laugh, chuckle. I like the word chuckle. Chuckle with you a little bit. But amazing dad jokes, James McQuicken. Thank you so much. Oh, here it is from Carrie. But thank you, James McQuicken, for the dad jokes. Let me get Carrie's pulled up. So the police officer gave a speeding ticket to the onion. The onion was peeling out from its layers. Boom, boom. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Zemer said, I don't get it. You got to think about it. You got to think about it. Jerry and I have a friend named Aladdin. His real name is Matt Ryder. Matt Ryder. Think about it. Think about Aladdin. Think about Matt Ryder. Yo, in like 10 minutes, you're going to be like, we're going to be in a news story and you're just going to start laughing to yourself. You're going to be like, I see what he did there. That's clever. Oh, we got James McQuicken with a joke on the spot. Onions are like cybersecurity. They have layers and they make us cry. That is true. I love it. All right, well, let's continue our stories. It is already 7:41. I have a few more stories to jump through. I'll try to go through these on time. Let me hit play.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is a global leader in zero-trust endpoint security, offering cybersecurity controls to protect businesses from zero-day attacks and ransomware. ThreatLocker operates with a default deny approach to reduce the attack surface and mitigate potential cyber vulnerabilities. To learn more and to start your free trial, visit threatlocker.com/CISO. That is THREATLOCKER.com/CISO. Arrested hacker going by the name Intel Broker, now charged. Following up on 2 stories we covered last year, the U.S. Justice Department has now charged a British national known online as Intel Broker, as one word, with, quote, hacking dozens of companies around the world, stealing and selling sensitive data and causing over $25 million in damages, end quote. The 25-year-old, whose real name is Kai West, was, quote, arrested in France in February and is currently awaiting extradition to the U.S., where he could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted, end quote. According to his indictment, West infiltrated more than 40 companies, allegedly selling sensitive information such as customer data, patient health records, social security numbers, and health plan details.
Is that the end of the story here?
Judge warns of constant attack.
Oh, no, that is the end of the story. Okay. He always has these weird pauses between paragraphs and between stories. It's always a guessing game to know if the story is done. But I read about this news, well, yesterday. I think this news has been out for a while. I don't think it's breaking news by any means, but maybe it's just finally getting out. Actually, maybe there was a story yesterday about it. This may be a slightly repeat story, but we have Intel Broker. If you've been in the field of cybersecurity for any length of time, you've likely heard the name Intel Broker. I believe that the government or others believe that Intel Broker was a highly sophisticated APT group with multiple members, but it was just a 25-year-old dude in France. I mean, this is the most common APT is not an advanced persistent threat. It's an advanced persistent teenager. This time we'll say advanced persistent 20-something ager. But Kai West, Intel Broker, was his motto online. He was an administrator of breach forums. He helped hack networks. He helped sell sensitive information. And now he's arrested and facing 20 years in prison. Guys, cybercrime does not pay. I know I'm preaching to the choir, because many of you are here, but like in my Hack Smarter community that I lead over on Discord, we have amazing people. We also have some like teenagers, young people, and including some people that I know have been involved in cyber crimes in the past, and they're actively trying to like reform their ways and focus on the good side of security, get away from that world and learn through like real platforms and get real mentorship by real industry professionals as teenagers before they go down this path because it looks cool and it looks fun. So I want to be very clear for anyone here. Maybe you're a teenager getting into cybersecurity and it seems funny to do cyber crimes, even small cyber crimes. Let me just strongly warn you, that is a slippery slope. You will end up in a bad place. There are ways that you can do this legitly without worrying about a prison sentence. And I don't only say this from reading stories like this, but if you guys remember LulzSec, LulzSec was like one of the leading groups in the anonymous movement back in 2011, 2012. LulzSec had a lot of famous hacks. LulzSec was led by a guy named Hector. His screen name was Sabu. He ended up getting arrested. I won't go into the details of that whole story, but I had like an hour-long private conversation with him just about his own story and his own journey, how he got into this, some of the regrets that he has. So I can also just say from his perspective, it is not worth it to do this type of crime. You can do the same work, but be legit as a pen tester or a red teamer, and then you don't have to be paranoid or have a prison sentence hanging over you. So I'm guessing Kai West got into this journey because he loved computers and he loved cybersecurity, but then he got involved with the wrong crowd and it very slowly became real criminal things happening. And now he's caused over 25 million in damages where he could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Number one, I'm waiting for the Darknet Diaries episode interviewing Kai West. But number two, I obviously don't know who he is, but I hope this is a wake-up call for him. I hope this is a moment that he can begin reforming his life and charting a better path. So once again, just for all of you, and I know it seems a little bit weird that I'm saying, hey, cybercrime, yeah, is bad, but truly this is attractive to many people, especially those, I mean, I don't think France, but those in other countries, developing countries who can't get a job as a pen tester. For them, it feels like the only way out of their situation is to do some form of cybercrime. And I just want to warn you, it is never, never, never worth it. There are different ways that you can make income without doing cybercrime in the field of ethical hacking. Yeah, from Hacker and the Fed. Yeah, correct. I'm not going to comment on the whole LulzSec and Sabu and that whole story, but I talked to him personally to understand his take and understand like why he got into it and some of the things he learned. So just know that cybercrime, it never pays. It never pays. All right, let's continue.
On PACER system. The Public Access to Court Electronic Records, or PACER, platform allows judges and lawyers to file court documents electronically. However, modernization is desperately needed to fend off constant attacks from increasingly sophisticated hackers. Federal Judge Michael Scudder told members of the House Judiciary Committee that, quote, about 200 million harmful cyber events were prevented from penetrating court local area networks in fiscal 2024, end quote. Documents at risk include sealed indictments, names of cooperating witnesses, and arrest and search warrants. He added that, quote, external experts and members of his committee have concluded that PACER is unsustainable due to cyber risks and must be replaced with a more modern system in the coming years due to its increasing vulnerability to hacks, end quote.
All right, I think that's the end of the story. When he first said PACER, I thought it was like isn't the heart monitor thing called the PACER? That's what I thought it was talking about at first. But it's an electronic filing system for courts is what PACER stands for. Let's see. The public access to court electronic records. And this story is just saying, look, our stuff is outdated. Our stuff is insecure. And we're going to get pwned. And now they're definitely going to get pwned after this if they don't fix something. And maybe that was the purpose of it. It was Michael Scudder, who chairs it, said, like, guys, unsustainable means we have some serious vulnerabilities, and it's only a matter of time until someone breaches our information, and it's going to be bad. I mean, when you have sealed court cases and you have witnesses and those working with police that can be exposed by a cyber attack, it's going to happen. It is only a matter of time, which is why Michael Scudder's like, guys, we need to fix this. We need to change this. We need to have real security in place. The downside, though, is if you've ever worked with the government, it takes a long time to accomplish anything. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but part of it, this story being public in this way, any threat actor is going to think to themselves, oh, really? Your Pacer electronic filing system can be hacked? All right, bet. Give me just a second and I will hack it. So hopefully they have some security in place before being public about how insecure it is, because to me, this seems like an invitation to threat actors saying, hey, you want some juicy data about sealed court cases and about witness information? Come hack us. I just said publicly that it's easily hacked. Maybe it's reverse psychology. I have no idea. But here's something I've noticed about many government systems is they are outdated. They're running on legacy software. You look at it wrong with an InMap scan, and the software just falls over with a denial of service attack. And if it's that vulnerable to a scan, it's also going to be vulnerable to a threat actor going after it. Other than that, nothing too interesting in this story besides, hey, kudos to Michael Scudder for coming out and saying what many people were thinking. I'm guessing he's been saying this internally for a while. Like, hey, guys, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. But they wouldn't do anything about it. So he's like, fine, I'm going public with it. This sucks. Let's continue. Two more stories. And I have to refresh the podcast. I'm blaming Windows again, even though I know it's not Windows.
Microsoft 365 Direct Send abused to send phishing emails. Direct Send is a little-known Microsoft 365 feature that, quote, allows on-premises devices, applications, or cloud services to send emails through a tenant's smart host as if they originated from the organization's domain. It is intended for use by printers, scanners, and other devices that need to send messages on behalf of the company, end quote. It also does not require any authentication. Researchers at Varonis have announced that a phishing campaign that exploits this feature is targeting more than 70 organizations across all industries, with 95% of the victims based in the United States. The phishing campaign is run through a PowerShell command. To mitigate this threat, Varonis recommends enabling the Reject Direct Send setting in the Exchange Admin Center, which Microsoft introduced in April of this year.
Okay, that's actually a pretty clever... Sorry, guys. I can't talk this long in the morning. I get all coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I get all coffee. That was the good joke I didn't even try to make up. Anyways, you probably all seen this. When you walk up to your, big scanner at work, you can, let's say you scan a document, and then you can do direct send, and you can send it to your email. I know that I have used this exact feature back when I worked at a college. It was enabled. Well, direct send is a Microsoft 360 feature that allows that same thing. On-prem devices, apps, cloud services to send emails through a tenant smart host as if they originated from the organization's domain, almost like an open SMTP relay, where as long as you are there internally, you can authenticate through this and have it relay your email so it looks legit. You don't need credentials, but you can send emails on behalf of these organizations from their domains, bypassing your standard SPF and DMARC checks and all of those things because it is coming through Microsoft 365. Now, it's Microsoft again. It's a feature, right? It's a feature to send malware. Thank you, Microsoft 365, for the malware feature you've included called Direct Send. It says they recommends that only advanced customers utilize the feature, as its safety depends on whether M365 is configured correctly and the smart host is properly locked down. In other words, bro, this isn't an issue. This is just a feature. Now, for me as a pen tester, this is really interesting. I also want to kind of create a lab about this. For those of you who don't know, I've also created like official try hack me machines. I'm going to start creating labs for Pwn labs and things like that. It would be a fun lab to create this full attack so you can see what it's like to do it from the perspective of a threat actor, but also from the perspective of a defender. But you can see very simple PowerShell, send mail message. We're specifying our SMTP server, so almost like an open relay. We have the SMTP server there. And from joe@company.com, I think we can do any email that we want there. Subject, new misfax message. Body, you have received a call. Click on the link to listen to it. Listen now. Body is HTML to send it over. When they click it in, it's going to open up the malicious link. This works because direct send with the smart hopes doesn't require auth and treats the sender as an internal. Allowing threat actors, that's crazy. The email campaigns impersonate voicemail or fax notifications, which we can see an example right here. Oh, wow. Okay. So they have, here's the, fax. And it says voice sender received a call. Download attachment to listen. Now, they didn't use AI to generate this. Do you guys spot the obvious sign? Whoops, I don't know why that's going up. Do you spot the obvious sign why this might be a fish? Well, we have at least one grammatical error. Download attachment to listen. Attachment is spelled wrong. The documents instruct targets to scan the QR code with their smartphone camera to listen to the voicemail. Oh, interesting. And it brands it with the company logo. That's quite a clever phishing attack, and it is being exploited in the wild. So to mitigate it, disable it. Reject direct send. Make sure you do that. So, hey, here's a very stupid freaking bar. Here's a very good takeaway. Make sure you enable the reject direct send setting in Exchange Admin Center, which Microsoft introduced in April of 2025. So enable the rejection so it disables the direct send. Got it. Interesting attack path. How am I doing on time? We're almost at the top of the hour. We got one more story. Let's shred this top cyber story real quick.
Man who hacked organizations to advertise security services pleads guilty.
That wasn't me, I
Kansas
promise.
City resident Nicholas Michael Kloster has pleaded guilty to charges of accessing a protected computer and obtaining information, as well as reckless damage to a protected computer during unauthorized access.
What?
Specifically, he hacked into a gym where he modified his own membership fee to $1 a month and then emailed the gym's owner describing his hacking activities and offering his cybersecurity services. He also hacked into a non-profit organization and used his own employer's credit card to, quote, make unauthorized purchases, including a thumb drive designed for hacking, end quote. Gloucester is now facing up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine, 3 years of supervised release, along with paying restitution to the victims. As usual, we've got a busy Friday of...
I don't even know what to say. I love that this is the last story for the week. What? So this dude was apparently trying to do pen testing without permission and without scope. Can I tell you what pen testing is when you don't have explicit permission and a clear scope? It's a crime. That's the difference. That's the difference between a pen tester and a threat actor. Is when I do a pen test, it's a completely legal process. I mean, there's forms you send back and forth, NDAs, MSAs, statement of work, all these things, so you can legally, mark it, and the organization says, yes, you have permission to access our systems from this day to this day. Here's the specific URL is in scope. Here are the attack types that are in scope. Like, you can't just hack a business and say, I was trying to teach cybersecurity awareness. That's not how this works. Oh my goodness, this reminds me of the story a while ago where someone similar did something by hacking a hospital, trying to charge or trying to advertise their pen testing services. Do not be this guy. Do not access computers to advertise services. Do not do hacker attacks because you think you're cool. Like, dude, I mean, I did that kind of thing too when I was 14 years old, but you're 32. Come on. It's insane. So it says he hacked the gym, and then he sent one of the gym owners an email saying, describing his hacking and offering his cybersecurity services, claiming to have assisted dozens of businesses in the area. Wow. That's the same thing ransomware groups do too. They hack you, and then they say, hey, you just have to pay us crypto. That's our pen testing fee. Come on. 1 month later, he gained physical access to a computer owned by a nonprofit because, I don't know if he realizes this, but the whole definition of a nonprofit for the most part is they don't have any freaking money. I used to lead a church, a nonprofit, and I can tell you nonprofit meant we had no profit. We're not paying you for that. But he used a boot disk to change user passwords and access the victim's network and installed VPN software. Oh my goodness. Don't be this guy this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. You don't hack stuff unless you have written authorization to do so. Otherwise, you will end up in prison. Crazy. Well, that concludes our show. For the daily cyber threat brief, this concludes the news portion of the show. Next, we're going to jump into jaw-jacking and I think a panel AMA. If anyone from Mod Chat wants to join, I'll drop a link over there. But it's been fun, y'all. I have been with you 5 mornings in a row, and I made it. I was able to wake up on time, a little bit tired, popped enough caffeine, but here I am. So seriously, thank you so much, every single one of you. Whether you join me for only one day or if you join me for all 5 days for the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing, whether you are watching live or you are watching the replay, thank you for hanging out with me on this journey. Hey, if you want to stay in touch with me, once again in the lower thirds, you can see my YouTube channel, but just look up Tyler Ramsby on YouTube. That is my channel. I teach ethical hacking, cybersecurity, blue team type concepts all of the time. I live stream multiple nights a week doing live hacking, of course, not like on nonprofit organizations, but on Hack the Box and Try Hack Me and Palm Labs, giving you full methodology, raw take, all of that fun stuff. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, you should. Finally, you can enroll my courses in Simply Cyber Academy, Introduction to Hacking Methodology. We'll get you started with hacking. Introduction to AWS pen testing will bring you from beginner to intermediate level in AWS pen testing. And in July 8th, my phishing course will teach you the ins and outs of phishing and social engineering and how to do a full campaign as a pen tester or a red teamer. So thank you so much for being on this journey with me. We'll jump over to jaw-jacking. I'll play the jaw-jacking URL, and then we'll dive into the jaw-jacking, or not jaw-jacking URL, the jaw-jacking video, and then we'll dive into jaw-jacking. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you next time.
Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jaw-Jacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jaw-Jacking.
Well, as you can tell, look at all the people. Look at all the faces and all the people. It is just me right now. I just dropped a link over to the mods. We'll see if anybody joins. But in the meantime, if you guys have questions, let me get chat pulled up. Just preface your question with a Q, and then I'll know it's a question. Oh, we got Daniel Laurie checking in. What is up, dude? Good to have you here as well. No AMA panel today. I don't know. It depends if anyone's going to join. I dropped links to them. We'll see if they join. If they don't, I am the AMA panel. Welcome to the panel of Tyler and Tyler and Tyler and Tyler. But guys, if you guys have questions about cybersecurity, if you have questions about pen testing, if you have questions about careers, if you have questions about rapping, if you have questions about DEF CON, or I would say Wild West Hacking Fest, but I'll be there for the first year this time. Maybe I'll begin with that, guys. If you are going to any conferences this year, I would love to meet you. So I will be at DEF CON. Again, this is my 3rd year at DEF CON. I'll be at Wild West Hacking Fest for the very first time ever, which I'm excited about that. I will also be at Simply CyberCon. So if you're going to be at any one of those conferences, I would love to meet you. Have you join me for DEF CON? We are hosting a meetup with Simply Cyber and Hack Smarter. So on DEF CON, there's going to be a meetup Friday night, I think from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have registration information going out before it happens. But yeah, hey, Daniel Laurie, I don't know what you're doing, dude, but if you want to jump on the stream, I have you on Discord? If you're free right now, you can come join and hang out for the panel. Love to chat. I'll interview you. Let me, pretty sure I have you on Discord, don't I? Or was I messing with you on LinkedIn? I don't know. I'll wait to see what you say in chat. Real Bilbo said, just got my ticket for YOS Hacking Fest. Amazing. Poner Joe said, let me just congratulate you again, dude. We'll get your chat pulled up. So Poner Joe, guys, once again, as of yesterday, is officially a penetration tester. Dude, congratulations again. But he says, once I've officially signed the job offer, I guess you're not official yet, but as official as you can be, I have word that we'll be attending DEF CON this year. Amazing. Dude, I'm excited to hang out with you and to celebrate with you. All right, let me grab this. Payne said, I'm quite good at in-person red teaming skills. How could I prove this for a job application? Oh, how could I prove this for a job application? I would say personal branding is the way to go. Now, I personally am not a big fan of like the personal branding title just because it feels almost too influencery to me. But what I mean by personal branding is, what are you doing to give back to the cybersecurity community at large? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a blog? Are you active in Discord? Are you teaching workshops for other people to learn? If you're not doing those things, begin doing that now. If you have good red teaming skills, start teaching people those red teaming skills. Help other people in the industry break in and learn more about what it means to be a red teamer. When you do that, then on your resume, you can link back to your workshops that you've taught or your YouTube channel, and then employers can check those things out. And I say that not only for you, I say that for all of you. Guys, with the advent of AI, you would be surprised at how many applications that, like, the moment a job opens up, employers receive thousands of applications full of AI slop, clearly AI generated content, AI generated resumes, and even more so, to land a job in cyber is going to become not what you know, but who you know. And the best way to build connections and genuine friendships in the industry is give back. Don't just ping people on LinkedIn and say, hey, can you be my mentor? No, like, you start giving back to the community, build authentic relationships that way, and that's going to take you much further, much faster in your career. Scrolling up, we have Daniel Laurie said, I'm running way behind, so I'm working on getting my show ready, but if I get some time, I'll jump in. Dude, I don't know if I have you on Discord. I could have swore we chatted on Discord, dude, but I can't find your message. I also have a bunch of Discord messages, so I will if you get time, just say it in chat. Let me see if I can find you on LinkedIn. I'll at least send you the link, so if you have time, you can jump in. All right, message. I'll grab this link. I know there's other questions, guys. I'll get to them. All right, there. I just dropped you the link, Daniel Laurie. If you have time and you want to come hang out, I'll be here till 8:30 my time, so about 25 more minutes. Oh, my cat wants to come jump up. Everyone say hi. You know, it looked like the panel was going to be empty, but we got me and he doesn't even like me holding him. Me and my cat. Look how angry he looks. Me and my cat for the panel. Devon Gray said, I may have an interview for an associate pen testing job coming up. Got any good tips for interview prep? Yes. I mean, I don't know where you're hiring at, but generally speaking, if you're an associate pen tester, you're going to be doing a lot of web app pen testing. Make sure you brush up on the OWASP top 10, and you want to be able to answer 2 questions about every vulnerability in the OWASP top 10. How would you look for it in an application, and how can it be remediated? A rough idea. Make sure you know that things like cross-site scripting are done by JavaScript. You would be surprised how many associate pen testers fail that question. Like, how do you do cross-site scripting, and what is the language being used? JavaScript, and you use it by inputting into a field that's reflected on the page. You need to be able to answer those kinds of questions. And then finally, make sure you prepare questions for the target organization that's interviewing you. Make sure you have good questions about them specifically and about what it would look like for you to be in that role. And then finally, I want you to recognize that interviewing is a two-way process. They are interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. And not all organizations are made equal. So do not allow the desire to become a pen tester blind you to what might be a toxic organization. So just keep your eyes open to those things. I apologize, Philip Young. I'm putting your question up here so that other people can answer it, but I don't know. I'd say yes, but I don't know what they are. Are there any cons or events in VA or DC area for cybersecurity, other IT related stuff? Hey, for those of you in chat, can you help Philip Young out? Let him know if you know of any good conferences in that area. Where I live, there's no conferences. I live in rural South Dakota and not where Black Hills InfoSec is. I'm about 6 hours away from them. I'm on the completely wrong side of South Dakota. So there's nothing where I live, but in the VA and DC area, I can almost guarantee that there are going to be some things there. So what are your thoughts on Rickrolling as a teaching tool? Do it. Yeah, I love Rickrolling. You know, I was talking to some teenagers the other day, and these dudes didn't know what a Rickroll was. And I was like, are you joking me? Is that no longer a thing? We need to make Rickrolling great again. Like, I love Rickrolls. I remember doing it all the time in high school, and I still Rickroll people today. My last April Fool's joke, I set up so one of the things I don't do, guys, I don't do paid coaching. And Phil just said there's a right side of South Dakota. No, there's not. There's a reason living in South Dakota is so cheap. No one wants to live here. It's freaking hot in the summer and it kills you in the winter because of how cold. Oh, we got Daniel Laurie. Let me add Daniel Laurie to the stream. Oh, and I think so dude, I'm such a freaking noob on this. Let me, if I do half screen. Oh, there you are. And I'm still sharing my tab.
What's up, bro?
There, now it's working. No, what is up with you, dude? What's
you did good? I'm good, man. This is like, I think this is like our first time doing something together. I'm like, this is gonna be me and Tyler today. That's kind of fun.
Impromptu, on the spot, dude. Tell me real quick. We'll keep going through questions, but how is life at Black Hills InfoSec and Antisyphon training? I know you made that transition with IT Pro TV and then jumping over there. How's the transition gone? Like, you love it, you hate it? If you hate it, probably don't say it on stream, but
honestly, it's just different, right? Where I was doing training for IT Pro TV and I would do stuff for them as far as like YouTube videos or go on, podcasts and things of that nature, kind of as a tertiary thing. Now it's like the other way around. Now I'm always on live streams. I'm always on stuff like that. So it's just so much. It's very different. It's very different.
Sure.
Still a lot of fun. I mean, I get to work with Zach Hill, and what's funny is Kathy Chambers, who is a ride or die. She was my manager at IT. Actually, she started off as a host, and her first show that she hosted at IT Pro TV was CEHV 11, I think.
Oh, amazing.
And me and her went through that, and we became like best buds doing that course. And then she left. She got another. She's been in broadcast news for a long time. She's got like an Emmy. It's crazy,
That's
right?
insane.
Like she's been doing that forever. So she went off to do to work for another news network. And then that news network didn't really last. It folded up. So she came back to IT Pro TV and marketing, and then got hired to be the production manager, like all the edutainers. She was our manager, which she was phenomenal at. I loved her as my manager.
So cool.
And now she's over at Black Hills as a project manager. And so we still get to work together. So it's just crazy how, like, yes, the transition was wild. I mean, obviously, we over at IT Pro TV got the rug snatched out from underneath us from ACI. They did that whole fun thing. But we're riding the wave. We're doing the thing, man. So other than that, we're just making content, trying to have some fun, keep engaged. And I hear you're going to Wild West Hacking Fest for the first time this year. I cannot believe this is your first. You live in South Dakota.
No,
this is your first Wild West Hacking Fest, you nut.
I know, dude. I should have been going before. I've gone to DEF CON. Like, DEF CON's the only hacking conference I've gone to. This will be my third year going. But DEF CON is just like lines, right? It's cool hanging out with people and networking, but it's just it's way too big. And what I've heard about Wild West Hacking Fest is it has more of that like early days of DEF CON vibe, right? I think it's capped at like 800 people. You can actually like talk and interact with other people instead of, just sitting in line con the entire time. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped for Wild West Hacking Fest. Yes.
Dude, that's where Jerry and I became like brothers from another mother, because I had done his show years ago. He contacted me. He was like, "Hey, I'd love to have you on the show, do an interview." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." So we did that. And then, it was nice and everything, but it was just more of a business thing. And then there he is with Josh Mason in line for the steak dinner. And he's like, "Oh, it's Daniel." I'm like, "Oh, hey." And we just started talking. And we talked for hours. Me, him, and Josh just sitting at the table, talking, having a good time, talking about what we wanted to do, what our aspirations of things were, what we wanted to get done the next year. It was great. And then we did it the next year. And then we did it the next year. And the circle just gets bigger, the people that are kind of joining in on that conversation. So it's like this mini con we have inside that con. So I look forward to seeing you there as well, to kind of like get your information, like what you're up to, what you're thinking about heading, because I mean, I feel like the cybersecurity landscape has changed so much in the last year, especially, or not in just the last year, but the last couple of years. It has really evolved and shifted. We're seeing contraction in the industry with all the tech layoffs. And then I'm seeing like a lot less people that are getting excited about getting into cybersecurity because they feel like it's a dead end way to go because it's so difficult to make your way into it. And that is completely because of the tech layoffs. And now you're having to compete with people with 5-10 years of experience for those same junior or introductory entry level roles because they'd rather take something than nothing. It's like, it's tough out there. So I don't know about you, man. Are you seeing that as well? Are you seeing like a lot less enthusiasm for cybersecurity as from years past?
Yeah, so actually I made sort of a mistake, maybe a mistake, but I gave my email out on LinkedIn. I was like, "Hey y'all, I want to help you. So if you have questions about cyber careers, like I will personally read every email and get back to you. I won't even have AI do it. I'll do it myself," which I have been, but it blew up more than I thought. So I have like this long inbox of emails, but I would say the majority of the emails are around that question. In light of today's market with layoffs plus AI, plus like trying to get an entry level job, how can I stand out? What does that look like? And my answer to people is personally, I don't know. I mean, I got my pen testing job back in 2022, so almost 3 years ago now. And even 3 years ago, it was quite a bit different than what the market is today. The one thing I point people to, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, and I apologize to chat that I'm like ignoring some of your questions, but this is good stuff. But when you were done at IT Pro TV, I might have my timeline here wrong, but I think it was like a week later or less than a week, you were already hired at Antisyphon training. Was that just from like networking, making connections? Because you're a lot more recent of being in the job market than me. Is that just due
Sure.
to your personal branding, or what advice would you give people in that world? Like you were able to land it quick on your feet.
So I had the job in stone by the end of that day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I was sitting, they called us into a Zoom meeting and they were like, "So we're closing the studios." And I'm like, "You mean like we're going to work from home, or what are we talking about here? Because it sounds like what you're saying is," and I raised my little hand. I'm like, "Hey, real quick, are we laid off?" And they were like, the CEO was like, "Yes, you were laid off. That's why we're closing." I was like, "Gotcha." And I just stood up with my phone and walked out the door. And I text Kathy Chambers. I was like, "Hey, Kathy, we all just got laid off." And she was like, "What? Holy crap. Hold on." And then about 10 minutes later, Zach texts me. He's like, "Money and when you can start." So I
Amazing.
sent him the info. He's like, "All right, I'm sending this to John." John called me up that afternoon and was like, "This is what we need. This is what what do you want to do?" And blah, blah, blah. We kind of hashed it out. We came to terms. And he said, "Do you want to start today?" I said, "That's fine." And Zach actually said, "You should probably take a week to chill and kind of get used to the
Relax.
fact that you don't work there anymore." And actually, that was really good advice. So even though I was an employee at that day, I didn't start with like working for them and doing stuff until the next week. So that's how that went down. And that all came around because, to your question, was because I do a lot of like this, right?
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to people, I'm talking to people. I see people on LinkedIn that just random people I don't even know. But if they got some cool post, I don't just like and scroll, right? I like it, I comment, "Hey, how did you know about this? You know, what was the interesting thing about that to me? What
Mhm.
made me like the thing?" And I'll comment that to them. This was interesting because do you have any more information? Love to see blah blah blah. And then they comment back. And then all of a sudden they become kind of like somebody I kind of know. And then you start having I have people that I have never met in real life that are like really good friends and people that I would count on to reach out to on LinkedIn due to solely doing that particular thing where I will engage with them in more than just a superficial way. So I
That's
think
amazing.
that I talked to Jason Haddix one time. The first time I met Jason Haddix in real life, right? We were at B-Sides Orlando, and he said, "I have a slide in my workshop with your face on it." I was like, "What? That's surreal." I'm like, "Why is that?" He goes, "Because you're a good example of how to build a personal brand." I said, "Oh,
Yes.
well, I appreciate that. A, B, it's a lot of hard work, right? As you know, right? You're this is why I was running late this morning because I was busy filming last night, creating thumbnails, descriptions, all that other stuff that's got to go along with making an asset for YouTube that is going to make me probably like $3, you know,
Yes,
right?
very
I
true.
do it because it's fun. I was super tired. I've been filming all week. I've been on live streams all week, but it's like, hey, this is what I'm passionate about. So I just keep myself out there in the community as much as I can. Like what you said, giving back, just doing
Yeah.
as much as I can to be a resource for other people. And and it's been nice that there are other people that are out there that do the same thing. You just got to get out there and get your name out there, build your own brand by saying, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm interested in, and everything is documented. Everything is put it out there. Doesn't
That's so
matter if it's
good.
blogs, doesn't matter if it's videos, doesn't matter if it's whatever. Just start doing it.
Mhm.
That's the best thing you can do to kind of help yourself stand out from the crowd, in my opinion. My opinion.
Preach, dude. I would love to get your thoughts, and I think this will affect a lot of people or the like emotional side of things. But that layoff meeting, dude, had to just be like a gut punch. Now, thankfully, you had those connections and you were able to hear from Zach, 10 minutes after the call. But a lot of people are dealing with layoffs right now. When you said called into a Zoom meeting, like a lot of people probably had flashes of PTSD. Like they can remember that day when the career that they had for many years, because you were at that organization for a long time, an
10
organ
years.
10 years, right? So 10 years, like long-term plan, gonna stay here, continue to add value, and then one day it's gone. Like, emotionally, how do you process that? Do you have advice for people who maybe just recently got laid off or are still trying to process just the emotions that come with
Yeah.
being told, "Hey, your job is no longer available"?
Oh, trust me. It definitely like I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing. So at that point, it was more, okay, this has happened. I need to get on it. I need to find new employment as fast as humanly possible because I have bills to pay. I got mouths to feed. And ain't nothing in this life is free, right? Cage the Elephant song that used to come out. But so I immediately just focused on that. And it wasn't, it honestly, it did not hit me until I had bought so they I had to come back in the next day and I had to box up all my stuff from my desk. And I brought that home and it sat in the garage for a little while. And I had been working at Black Hills for probably like a month, maybe a little longer. And I had
Mhm.
that box sitting right next to my desk. And then I was like, oh, I need that thing. And I opened that box and started pulling stuff out. And bro, that's when it hit me. That's when I was like, this is some bull ish. And I was angry, and
Yeah.
it does not feel good, but going through that stuff and then kinda like the memories of all the fun stuff we did, all the good times we had, all the great content I think we made, and the people that were affected. I get DMs all the time from people going, "I got my Pentest Plus because I watched your training. I got my CEH watching your training. I got my Security Plus. I got my CISP. I got whatever because they watched my training." And I've met people that are like head and shoulders above me as far as skill wise now, that were like, I started out watching your training. And I'm like, that's what I just now I don't even remember the other stuff. I just remember the good times
Mm.
and when it was fun and all the great stuff we did. I hope to be able to do that again in the future. I would love to get back into some cyber training
Yeah.
just because I enjoy doing it. And I think I'm good at it and can help people. You know what it's like, right? You know that there's a people they just jive with what you're doing.
Yes.
And that's like, well, that's a gift. Not everybody can do that. And there's a lot of people out there with tons of cyber knowledge, but they don't have the gift of being able to help people understand it and to learn it and to be able to assimilate that knowledge and then utilize it to get gainful employment and do the job that is something they're passionate about and enjoy. So it's like, I hopefully in the future, I'm going to get back at that game as soon as possible.
I love it, dude. Thank you just for being open and sharing that. Wanna grab a question from Poner Joe. Not really a question. I don't know if you heard this earlier, but he officially has a job as a pen tester. He just got the new pen test offer while we were streaming that he likes. He only had a counter offer once. He's gonna sign the job offer doc right meow. So congratulations, Poner Joe. But Daniel, what advice would you give him? He's starting his first pen testing job. You've done a lot of training in that space. You know the soft skills side of it. What would you tell him to focus on in that first maybe 30 days or 60-day period, kicking off a new highly technical role?
Yeah, my guess is that they're going to have you shadow with someone, right? You're going to get a little bit of shepherding going on there, and just don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be like, "Hey, how do you like this to be done?" Let me get really familiar with their report writing, right? Like I think that's probably one of the biggest skills because every shop has their own way of writing reports. They have that personal brand or that company brand of how that report should look. I think that's probably where you should spend quite a bit of effort and time so that looks like exactly what they want. Don't get freaked out when peer review time comes along and you submit that for peer review and somebody returns that and it looks like they bled all over it. And you're like, okay, all right, let's take a step back. This isn't the end of the world. I used to, when I was younger, I've had a lot of jobs. When I was young, I had a bunch of jobs. And it wasn't until I got into my mid-20s where I had career, right? Where I wasn't jumping job to job. I was staying long-term. But one thing I learned through all that job hopping when I was younger was that I would get jobs and I was young. I would just say, yeah, I can do it. Even if I couldn't, right? So, because I needed money. I had to do what I had to do to get some money. And because I was poor. And I learned really quick that I got a human brain that works and I'm fairly astute at picking things up. I'm fairly adept at getting up to speed really quickly. And after a couple of days, like those first couple of days, I would be like panicking going, I'm a fraud. They're going to figure this out. I'm going to get fired, or like, I'm well in my depths. I'm just going to quit. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with my first few IT jobs, I felt well out of my sphere. Even though I knew computers fairly well because it was my hobby and I was going to quit. But every time I just kind of told myself, well, just stick it out till the end of the day. Just stick it out till lunch. Hey, kid, we'll go to the end of the week because no one's died yet. So let's just go to the end of the week. You will get it. And that's what I figured out. You will pick it up. You're going to get the job. It usually takes a few weeks until you're like completely settled in. So just sit back, enjoy the roller coaster that is new hire time, and figure out where all the moving parts are. Get your workflow down, ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and reach out for help when you need it. To me, that's a phenomenal team member. Someone that will go, hey, I don't know this. I need some help on this. I'm not super checked out on server-side template injections. I'm working on this web app and I'm looking at this, but these polyglots aren't working or whatever. Maybe it's just not susceptible. I don't know, man. I want to make sure, reach out. There's no shame in saying, I'm not 100%. This is not my strongest suit, but I want to get stronger. Hey, can I take some, whatever. That's my advice. Just understand that it will come. You will settle in. You didn't get this job by accident. You didn't fall backwards into like tricking the hiring manager into choosing you. So just chill and realize that. Take some deep breaths throughout the day and realize you will get it. You will. And then one day, like I guarantee a year from now, you're going to be one of their seniors. You're going to be like the person they lean on to do a great job.
Preach, dude. I'd have nothing to add to that. That's such a good answer. And believe it or not, we're like at the end of jaw jacking, but a few follow-up questions. Today's Friday. You have your IRL Cybercast. I'm blanking on the name. It's IRL something.
You nailed it. Cybercast IRL.
Is it Cybercast?
Yeah.
Boom. Look at this. I mean, this is no prep interviewing. I love it. So what time that happens right after this, right? Or what time does that kick off?
That goes on at 10 a.m. Eastern. So for you, I guess you're an hour or two behind.
1 hour behind. So 30 minutes from now, right?
Yes, 30 minutes from now. Correct.
Okay, cool. So everybody in live chat right now, we got over 200 people. Go to Daniel Laura's YouTube channel. IRL Cybercast is kicking off in 30 minutes. And what's your like big plan for the YouTube side of things? I know you create content for Antisyphon's YouTube channel. You have your own YouTube channel. Do you have any like big vision in mind that you're aiming for?
So, my YouTube channel has always been like it started off when the merger, when IT Pros started, they got infected with corporatism and the fun sponge was coming around and kind of sucking up all our fun. And I was like, I really enjoy the fun stuff. I like to have fun. So for me, YouTube was a passion project. It was a place for me to kind of like go, hey, here are the things that I'm learning. And, come along, learn with me. And it really hasn't changed, honestly, too much from that. So like today, I got a new video coming out after Cybercast IRL. It'll drop it around because I still have to upload it. That's why I was working late last night because I had to film it. It's on the Adaptive C2 framework. I don't know if you've messed around with this at all.
I haven't. No.
It's fire, bro. It's open source. It looks a lot and functions a lot like Cobalt Strike. You got BOFs, you got the whole nine. Like it is. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to show you how to install it. I'm going to show you how to configure it. I'm going to show you how to generate some listeners, some agents, and hook a couple of machines. And that way you've got it's like 45 minutes of training on how to use Adaptive C2. So for those of us that are out there like myself who can't afford Cobalt Strike, right? This thing is actually fairly handy and very similar in look and feel and even parity in a lot of ways when it comes to functionality. So I want to get it out there. I want people to see it. I'm learning about it. I'm a C2 junkie. I love C2s. I'll mess with C2s all day. They're just fun. So this was right up my alley. So that will come out later today as soon as I get it uploaded and fired off. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm doing on my channel is just learning new tools, learning new techniques, anything that kind of strikes my interest or yeah. And that's how it's going. And then of course, Cybercast IRL, we do every Friday at 10. I'm working on an After Dark version on that, which hopefully within the next week or two. So it'll be Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Because I know a lot of people are working during the day. Like this is a hard time for some people to stay stuck around. Afterwards, 9 p.m. Eastern, most people, even on the East Coast, are probably around dinner time, right? They're not at work, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's learn the
give us another opportunity all to get together and kind of like chill.
That's amazing. And during that, like, is it going to be on the After Dark one, similar show style, like going through top news and explaining stuff or technical demo type things? Like, are you going to do anything different for the IRL? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing we will have a guest. I will make room for one guest, like kind of like what we're doing right now, because this was fun, right?
Yes.
So I was like, this is what I want to do with Cybercast After Dark is have a guest. We just kind of banter, have the chat going. We check the chat, people interact. It's more like a virtual con, I think, with a single speaker. And we can talk about a topic or we can go off of and just riff of whatever's going on in chat. We can do both. It doesn't matter. It's open. It's an open forum. It's just for fun. Again, I like to have fun. If I'm having fun, you're having fun. Everybody having fun.
Heck yeah.
By God, we need some fun.
Philosophy
in this business because it can be a very overwhelming thing to stay on top of stuff. And you know how it is, man. It's just a lot of work. So let's have some fun while we're working, I thought.
That's so good. Well, I know generally the Friday panel goes an hour. People have been telling me that in chat. But here's the thing, guys. Unlike Jerry, this isn't my full-time job. So my full-time job is pen testing, and I have to jump into client work. So I do have to end the panel, the two-person panel, a little bit early. But dude, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on. For the rest of you, make sure you go to his YouTube channel. If mods can drop a link to it, if Daniel, if you want to drop a link to it in chat, make sure you go there in 30 minutes. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to pull it up on my monitor as I do some pen testing for the day today. So I'll hang out in chat there. But yeah, let's see if we can get that link. I'll highlight it.
1 second here. Let me grab that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, that's me.
I hear you talking.
Shut up, you. Let me get that there. Link, copy. And oh, where's the everyone chat? I've got the private chat, but where's the everyone chat?
Oh, you may have. Can you chat to the everyone chat if you're not the host? If you send it in the private chat, I'll drop it and highlight.
All right. Yeah, I guess that would be it. Paste that in. Yeah, I think that's it.
Sweet. Let me grab the link. I will drop it, and now I should be able to highlight it for everyone. You can also just like search up his name on YouTube, y'all, but there is the link. It is in chat. Copy, paste it, like, subscribe, bell notifications, all the YouTube algorithm stuff. And in 25 minutes now, let the time, the clock down, the clock time, I can't even talk, begin, right? 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
IRL Cybercast episode 34, it looks like. Justin just dropped in chat. Episode 34. So in 25 minutes, make sure you guys are all there. I will be there as well as I do some pen testing on one of my monitors. So I'm looking forward to the show, dude. Thank you again for taking the time to hang out. For the rest of you, yeah, thank you. For the rest of you, thank you for being here. This is my 5th day of doing the show. I survived. I lived. I am looking forward to sleeping in, though. Usually I stream late at night, so this whole wake up at freaking 6 a.m. my time to get ready to talk to hundreds of people is crazy. But thank you all. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.